My name is Barbara Park, and I'm 86 years old. I was born on the island of Lanai, and everybody knew everybody. We left Lanai when I was 7 years old and moved to Oahu, and that's where I grew up. In 1941, where they had the problem with Japanese people being imprisoned, and so all of a sudden we didn't see a lot of Japanese people because they stayed home rather than go out, you know. I only remember my sister telling me that men came and took a Japanese lady out of a church area that she mingled herself with Koreans, and they took her away, and they all remembered seeing that, but I don't remember seeing it. At the time when people said Hawaii was a melting pot, I think I experienced more prejudice. Being Korean, Japanese people didn't like Koreans, Koreans didn't like Japanese people because of the war before. We had a taxi service that used to run from Honolulu to Waiwa, our hometown. 50 cents for traffic, okay. It was a big taxi, and people, maybe 7, 8 people could get in. And if you paid 25 cents more, the taxi driver would take you home, because it would be from one point to the next point. And one day I said, could you take me to, and I gave him our address, 133 Makaweo. And the man looked at me and he said, oh, kirena. And that said, you're pretty. And I said, thank you. Doko no girl no? Whose daughter are you? I said, Park, Chunsik Park. That was my father's name. Oh, no kirena. And I said, so he dropped me off. I said, Mom, who is that driver? She said, oh, that's Mr. Nakamura. I said, he said, kirena. She said, oh, he said, you're pretty. I said, then he said, Doko no girl no? Oh, whose daughter are you? What did you say? I said, I gave our father's name. I said, Park, Chunsik Park. And she looked at me, she said, and? I said, he changed his mind, I'm not pretty anymore. I said, he said, no kirena. She laughed, she said, oh, you're not pretty anymore. My mom and dad were divorced. So the next day I baked cookies. I always used to take cookies to him. And I went down and I said, Abaji, which is father in Korean. I go, you know Mr. Nakamura, the taxi driver? I still thought everything was funny. And he said, yeah. He said, kirena. My father smiled. He said, oh. I said, then he said, Doko no girl no? Oh, he said, whose daughter are you? He said, what did you say? I said, Park, Chunsik Park. And my father looked at me, I said, he said, no kirena. My father was very dapper. He always wore 3-piece suits and a hat, gold chain with a watch, you know. Put on his hat, put on his jacket, and I said, where are you going? I followed him all the way down to the taxi stand. Mr. Nakamura says, hey, Mr. Park. My father said, you tell my daughter she's pretty, you find out she's Korean, you change your mind, I no ride your taxi no more. I couldn't believe it. I was absolute. I went home and I told my mother, she said, oh, I should have told you, don't ever tell your father somebody told you you're not pretty. She said, that's the worst thing you could do. She said, I understand his reaction. I went, oh, Mom, it was so embarrassing. He yelled at him. My mom said, yeah. And that's what they had. They still had prejudice.
In like the 50s, there was a Korean War that America was involved in. Did that impact your life at all?
Yeah, people kind of made comments, but I never paid attention. I don't remember any point where somebody was nasty or mean to me. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe they were to my sisters, but I think I was too young to understand, you know? But I don't think I had any problems. I knew when the war was over, people were driving around banging pots and pans. You know, the war is over, the war is over. Oh, the war is over.
Wow, that's beautiful. Can you tell me more about that? They were banging pots and pans. They were like walking through the
Yeah,
street.
no, driving around, ladies driving, beating pots and pans, yelling, "The war is over!" I remember that, but that's all I remember.
How about going to school back then? Because that was before Brown versus Board of Education, right?
Yeah, we went to school, everybody was friends.
Really?
Filipino, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Portuguese. We all got along.
Wow.
We never fought because of a race. We never had, because everybody had a group of every nationality you could think of. I mean, I don't remember ever going through that. I did hear some of my girlfriend's parents, and they would say Chosen, which means I was Korean, and I knew they must have asked what nationality she, but it never bothered me.
Were there any African Americans on the island?
Very little. But we got along with everyone.
And they went to the schools too?
Yeah.
That's
We
awesome.
had a football player, and we had one girl, and and nobody treated her any, we all got along. The football player was with all the popular boys, and nobody said anything that he was black, and nobody said anything about the girl that was black. We didn't have that many, but we didn't have any problems. All the Howleys, which was Caucasian, we got along with all of them. They stuck with themselves, or sometimes you'd see a Howley person in with a different group, but we all got along, I think.
Were both your parents Korean?
Uh-huh.
And did they speak Korean?
Uh-huh.
How about you? Did they
No, hopeless. My sisters and my older brother could speak it fluently, but my younger brother and I. And if you talked to me in Korean, I would just look at you with a blank face. I have no idea what you said.
Why didn't your parents teach you Korean?
Oh, I went to Korean school, and the teacher was considered Songsanim. As soon as he called my name and I raised my hand and put my hand down, I ran out. I just felt I was in America. I needed to speak English.
Were there a lot of other Koreans on the island?
Yeah, lots. And they could all speak Korean, except me.
Did that make you feel like you weren't part of the Korean community?
No. I had friends that were Japanese, Filipino, Chinese, Caucasian, and in our group we had a whole different group of nationality girls. Japanese, Filipino, Chinese, Korean. Another Korean girl came in, but we all spoke English.
And everyone got along fine?
We all got along great. Great memories.
Does Hawaii have a strong population of Koreans still?
I think so. I very rarely go, but they have Korean restaurants and a Koreatown. But we don't distinguish people Korean, Japanese. We just consider them. We say the name, and we don't say, "Oh, she's Japanese" or "He's Chinese." I don't think my sisters did. My mom never pointed them out to us in that way. So I think so it's hard for me to understand if someone is prejudiced against an Asian race, because I don't feel that I lived with that.